We had everything, but we were denied our bank account. We were almost there. This is important.
Yeah.
Even if you're not opening a bank, listen to this information. No one told us when we got our residency cards done. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel.
Hi, Ron.
Great to see you guys. Today we have some very important information on our experience that nobody else on YouTube has ever spoken about when opening a bank account in Mexico. So listen up, this is very important for you. Today we went to Bancomer, or also known as BBVA, over in Morelia. We went there in order to open a bank account because we're getting tired of all these fees. We're getting tired of, this is how you establish yourself, right? You have a bank account in the States. You want a bank account where you're living over in Mexico. So the unfortunate thing was we brought everything we needed, everything. What we brought was an address on this paper here. It's just a generic bill. Did you want to say something?
Oh yeah, so it's we brought an electric bill with us, and because online everybody says you need to bring a bill. You can bring a water bill, you can bring an electric bill, something with your address on it. It doesn't even need to have your name on it. Now that may change depending on maybe what bank you go to or who you get there, but she didn't care that it was a different name for us personally, that on this receipt.
The number one thing about Mexico is nothing in Mexico at all is ever consistent. So if you go to one bank, that bank might tell you, sure, you can open an account. You go to another one, they might say, absolutely not, you can't. In Bank A, they might say, yeah, the bill has to have your name on it. In Bank B, they might say, no problem. This bank didn't even mention it. Didn't mention the name discrepancy, no problem, because they understand that we're renting, right? So our name isn't going to be on the bill. So anyway, so we bring the bill, we bring our passport.
We brought our residency card, our passport, and a bill.
Right.
With our address on it.
Right, with the address that we're at. Yeah. So we had everything.
And we brought a copy too, colored and black and white.
Bring a copy of any paperwork just in case, because Mexico loves its copies. And if you don't have a copy, they might actually send you out of the bank in order to make a copy and then come back. So just have copies of everything. I recommend, honestly, we didn't do it. They started doing it at the bank for us, but bring a copy of your passport also. Highly recommend doing that, just to be on the safe side. We had everything, but we were denied our bank account. We were almost there. So we were turned away from getting a bank account today because our signature on our passport and on our temporary residency card did not match perfectly. Now, I don't know where you guys are coming from, but in the United States, we have never, ever been turned away from anything because a signature did not match, ever. No one cares about the signature over in the US. Apparently, at least from my experience. But apparently, that is a huge deal in Mexico. If your signature does not match every single thing that you sign, anything of any type of value, if you're buying a house or, on your residency card or on your passport, if everything doesn't match the same, like to the stroke of the letter, you're going to have an issue. Again, nothing in Mexico is consistent. So again, you might go to another bank and they might be like, oh, it's okay. Keep that in mind. Now, we were thinking about just going to another bank over here in Morelia and trying to fix the problem. Just see if they'll take our signatures mismatched and then get our bank account. But the reason we're not is because we heard from our friend, Sianja, who you met in another video. We heard that it may actually affect us if we ever were to go to buy a home. She used to work at a notary, and when you go to buy a home, you might need to deal with a notary. You might need to deal with a couple of different people who involve signatures with their jobs. And if the signatures don't match, Sianja has actually seen firsthand people being turned away from buying a house because their signatures on all their identification did not match to the letter. So that's why we're not just jumping to another bank in order to try to do this. We were advised by the person at the bank that since our residency cards are going to expire very, very soon in the near future, that we just go get our residency cards changed, and on the day that they get changed, you go ahead and change your signature to match the passport.
We gave both of our residency cards and passports, and for both of us, they wouldn't accept either of ours because neither of ours matched. Another thing I want to point out, this is very different from the United States, is that even though we're married, they wouldn't let us, this particular bank, I don't know if it's this particular bank or all the banks, wouldn't let us both be on the account. They were going to only let, and you have to also have a Mexican phone number. So because Joe has a Mexican phone number and I don't, he was going to be the one on the account, and they wouldn't let me be on the account. And even if I had a Mexican phone number, they said I couldn't be on the account. It's only one person. And so they're like, well, because if I had a Mexican bank account, they said I could have my own account. So that was something I really didn't like.
Yeah, they told us that they used to allow couples to be on the same account. Like in the United States, we share an account, both of our names on it. They said they no longer do that here. I don't know if it's just this bank. I don't know if it's only for Morelia. I don't know. They just said we no longer do that. Something to keep in mind, though, is that she did say that Brittany would have full access to the account. They would put in the file, not on the account's name, but in the file, they would put that Brittany was able to go there, withdraw money, she can use the ATM and all this stuff. And a cool thing about Bancomer is they have an app associated with their bank, and they give you a digital number. So in case you don't have a physical card, you can go to any ATM and use that number in order to retrieve money from your account. And it doesn't have to be the account holder himself or herself. It can be whoever you give that number to. So that was pretty cool. That was one of the reasons why we wanted to go with them. We heard they were the most reputable bank in Mexico.
And the reason we also want to go with BBVA was because we had read online that it's the largest branch in Mexico. So BBVA, from what I understand, is based in Spain. They are the largest one. So we've heard good things about BBVA. So I'm not saying not to go with them if you're thinking about opening a bank account. But again, just to go over the things that you need, you're going to need your passport. This is for, I want to specify, this is not for, the list I'm going over is not for tourists. This is for temporary residents. I just want to clarify that. So if you're not a resident, you don't have any residency, don't go by this video. Watch another video that talks more about that, because we can't talk about that because we haven't experienced that. So you need to have, for temporary residents, you need to have your temporary residency card, your passport, and a utility bill with your address, and a Mexican phone number, and, new to us, you need to have the signature matching your residency card to your passport. That's very, very, very important. So what we're thinking about doing is possibly going to an expat location where, from what we understand, it may be more, we don't know for sure, but from what we understand is that it may be easier. They may not care as much about the signature situation.
But keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, we may not do that also because our temporary residency is expiring soon, and we're probably just going to change the signature on the day that it expires. And the reason why is because we don't want any snags if in the future we decide to buy a home. If it doesn't match, and all of a sudden you have some stickler saying, sorry, your passport signature doesn't match your residency information, and all of a sudden you're turned away from like a house, that's a big deal. So we may or may not try to open up that bank account. We might just wait. Or like Brittany said, we might go to another location, try to get it done in a place that is more used to expats and how expats or immigrants, whatever you want to call them, whatever you're identifying as these days, more used to how they work. Because I don't know about you guys, but if you're coming from the United States, let me know in the comments. Do signatures even matter? They're over here at the bank taking your fingerprint. The gyms in Mexico take your fingerprint. I've never experienced such high security standards in the United States ever in my life. So, security is a big deal here. They want to keep you safe. I totally agree with it and respect it. It was just a shock to me that anybody cared or even looked at my signature. And actually, when we got our passports done, no one told us match your passport signature. No one said it.
When we got our residency cards done.
Yeah, when we got our residency cards done. No one ever said make sure it matches the same. So this is important.
Yeah.
Even if you're not opening a bank, listen to this information.
And I wanted to mention, I also was thinking, okay, maybe I'll just give her my driver's license. And she said, no, like we can't take that. It's not Mexican.
Right.
So you can't just say, oh, my driver's license matches my U.S. or Canadian, whatever country you're coming from, driver's license matches my passport. It doesn't work like that. They will only go by the Mexican things. So they will go by your passport and your residency card, not driver's license.
Yeah, and again, I have no problem with it. I was just shocked. And so hopefully you learn something from this. If you're going to get your residency, match the signatures. Don't change your signature. It has to be almost perfectly the same. Like, yeah. I'm literally going to get off this camera and practice my signature now. Our friend told us, Sianja told us, that in Mexico, they practice their entire lives to get the signature down perfect, so that when they're 18, that signature sticks with them for their life. Because if it's not perfect, they're going to have a lot of trouble when they're trying to open accounts or do anything. So this is new news to me. No one's ever told me this in my life. No one even looks at my signature in the US. So just giving you guys a big heads up. And we've just recently actually hit over 1,000 subscribers. I just want to thank each and every single one of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for the support and the kind words. We're so happy that you're finding value in this channel. All right, talk to you guys later.